Today we are talking tips and tricks that every backpacker should know when you're out there on trail. If you guys are new, my name is Matt. Welcome to Matty Outdoors. We talk everything hiking and backpacking here. I am out on a backpacking trip with some friends, and a couple subscribers have joined me out on this trip as well. Awesome time we are having. But like I said, we are talking backpacking tips and tricks that every backpacker should know. I use my boy Devin here kind of as my example, and we're talking trekking poles. Now Devin has got his beautiful black diamond trekking pole, and a cool tip with trekking poles is if you guys want to carry tape, Devin wraps some Gorilla Tape around the pole on his trekking pole, and that survived the entire Pacific Crest Trail. So you know it does work. But the tip we're talking about is how to properly use a trekking pole, and that is having your pole set up so your arm is at a 90-degree angle when you're using it. I see a lot of people with their trekking poles extended too far and their arm is like way up like this, and you're just not going to get as much control. The best way to use a trekking pole is to have your arm at a 90-degree angle, and a lot of trekking poles have this extra handle section here. That's for when you're going uphill, you can choke down on your trekking pole, and it really helps out.
There's no sheep around here. Don't you know?
All right, tip number 2, we're gonna keep harassing Devin here. This is actually one of my tips, as was the trekking pole tip, but I am going to get some tips from Devin, from Wendell, and we're gonna pick Bo's brain as well. But tip number 2 that I was gonna talk about is how to properly use tent stakes. Now, foolishly before filming this, I've already staked out everything on my hammock, but luckily Devin is like the slowest person when it comes to setup. And he's gonna use his stakes here. So I do believe he's gonna use the MSR Mini Groundhog. So Devin's gonna show us how to properly use a tent stake and the right angle to use a tent stake.
I like the Groundhogs. They offer more grip, and they're, I don't know, like a gram heavier than these.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I made a switch to the Groundhogs away from the Shepherd hooks. I do like the Shepherd hooks, in a lot of the areas we go they work, but the Groundhogs just bite better.
Yeah, in this there's a lot of duff here.
Yeah.
So this isn't gonna offer a lot of grip. I bring them if ever setting up in rocky ground or anything like that. It makes it a little bit easier. But for this kind of ground, these work far better. Typically what I'll do is in your line here, I'll throw a little girth hitch into it and wrap it around. What that does is it tightens up your loop.
Sorry, what knot is that again?
It's called a girth hitch.
He said girth.
I'll tighten it up around there. And on these, they have a little notch around the head that just helps it prevent from sliding off if you ever get any high winds or anything like that.
He's talking girth and around the head.
Exactly.
This channel's PG, buddy.
So from there, when you stick it in the ground, a lot of people will put them in just kind of straight up and down. The problem with that is you're going to get a lot of tension coming from here, and that's just going to pull. You can see how it moved over real easily. If you can put it in at an angle, somewhere between like a 30 and 45-degree angle, and you also want to get it down into the ground as far as you can. Now in this case, I've actually hit a root. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it kind of right in here between these roots. I'm just going to step on it, push it in, and of course hit another root or a rock. So we'll adjust it until we find a good spot.
Beauty.
Here we go. You want to get it as close to the ground as you can.
Soaking in some beautiful views, and what better place to talk about the third thing that every backpacker should know. And it just comes down to awareness. And when I say awareness, obviously I mean being aware of the conditions on trail, but being aware of the conditions in the area that you're going to go hiking. Now, this is very, very relevant to the backpacking trip that we're currently out on. The area we were initially supposed to go to, there is a massive forest fire. Now the forest fire is not close enough to the location we were going to be hiking that it would have been a safety issue for us going there. You know, with a forest fire that's considered out of control, emergency services are already stretched thin. You know, those guys and gals are working around the clock, trying to keep everything under control and keep people safe. And it's obviously not very smart bringing a large group into an area that's already being overburdened as it is. So we were aware of the situation. We made alternate plans, picked an alternate spot. It's absolutely beautiful.
I feel like you needed a story right there. A little bit more than you needed to hear the story.
I don't know, but yeah.
It's 2018. It's a few years ago.
Okay, yeah, because your scene really great.
Next tip is a very, very important one, and that is what to do with your food at night. Now, a lot of this varies on different locations, so just always be aware of the preferred food storage method or even accepted food storage methods in the area that you're going. For me, I hike a lot in public lands out here in Alberta. My preferred method of food storage is the Ursacks. We've got mine and Bo's here. Now, these were further away from camp when we tied them up. These are just tied here, just kind of as a demonstration for you guys. I didn't have my camera on me when I went to get the food bags. With the Ursacks, you know, you just tie them to the base of a tree, kind of down low here, and bears are not going to be able to get in and get your food. And a couple of the others have their food hung up at a bear hang, and you know, you can use bear balls, that kind of thing. But like I said, just always be aware of the preferred food storage methods or accepted food storage methods in the area that you're hiking. Told you guys, Bo was gonna have a tip for you.
My tip is to have a quick, easy, fast method to start fires. These little zip cubes lit up pretty quick, burn long enough to get wet stuff lit, and I like fires.
Yeah, and even when those things are wet, they still work,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And they do have like a little bit of a petroleum smell to them. You know, they're chemically, but yeah, they're very, very effective at starting fires. We use those. That's like our preferred method. Now, I had mentioned on top of getting tips from me, we were going to get tips from all the boys, and I haven't given you guys Wendell's tip yet. And Wendell's tip is a multi-part tip. The first part of his tip is make sure when you're trying to record video clips out of the backcountry that you actually hit the record button, or else you end up at home going to try and do some editing and realize that you lost a bunch of clips from your trip. Now, Wendell's actual tip has to do with saving weight in your backpack. And his biggest tip when it comes to, you know, your backpack just being too heavy and your base weight being too high in your pack, just carry 2 backpacks. Now, if you enjoyed this video on hiking and backpacking tips and you're looking for some more, I've got an entire playlist right here, and it's all hiking and backpacking tips. So find a video in that playlist. I'm sure you'll enjoy what you find there. And as always, I'm Matty. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.